Well, you know, those emotions are running very high, and the House Rules Committee session is right now in session, studying the terms for a floor debate and a possible vote tomorrow. And what we're likely to see, a single vote that sends one bill to President Obama for his signature and a second fix-it measure that will go to the Senate in the next several days. The Republicans are not going down without a fight. They're adding amendments meant to slow down the bill, and as we understand it, there are about 100 amendments at this hour trying to be considered for submission into this new bill. For a fair and balanced discussion, let's go to Texas Congressman Joe Barton, who's the ranking Republican on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, along with Maryland Congresswoman Donna Edwards, a Democrat on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Welcome to both of you. Nice to have you here. Great to be with you. Let me ask you, Congressman Barton, there are, as I mentioned, over 100 amendments that are being submitted for consideration in this, and among those are those that would include the provision that provides extra funds to Louisiana's Medicaid program, for example. Do we know if that's going to be in or out of this bill at this point, some of these sweetheart deals that were established over the last several days?
Well, Congressman Sam Johnson and myself offered specific amendments to eliminate the sweetheart deals. It's very unlikely that Speaker Pelosi's Rules Committee is going to make our amendments in order. I do want to add that the main thing that we're asking as Republicans is that we have a vote on the rule, a vote on the Senate bill that has never been debated in the House, and if those both pass, then a vote on reconciliation. So we want three separate votes. We don't want to do this self-executing deem something passed. And at least one member of the Rules Committee on the Democratic side, Mr. Cardoza, has said that he supports the position that I just enunciated.
Congresswoman Edwards, what do you think about these amendments that have been proposed to this bill? There are a lot of folks who believe out there that these amendments are necessary to be considered to make this a very fair and equitable bill before the American public.
Well, I tell you what, I think it's already a fair and equitable bill. I mean, I had an opportunity to sit through and listen to all of the amendments that were considered while the committees were doing the markup of the House bill. I listened to the Senate bill and the markup of those bills. I read both bills. I think that there's been fair consideration over the process of more than a year of this legislation. It's time for us to move forward with a vote for the American people, and I think that Congressman Barton is going to get his way. I think we're going to have a very, sort of clean vote. No one's going to argue process. I mean, I think on the other side, in the absence of arguing the substance, which is good for the American people, they argue process.
But what do you think about these sweetheart deals that have been taking place over the last few weeks, where people are really concerned about the perception that Congress is engaged in backroom wheeling and dealing, and that they're not presenting an honest face in front of the American public? A lot of elections hang in the balance this fall. For example, there's this other amendments being considered right now. Would it require that all individuals under Medicaid have to demonstrate their identity and citizenship? What do you think about that, Congresswoman?
Well, I mean, I think that we've considered many of these same issues all throughout this process, and I think it's time for us to get to a vote for the American people, decide whether we're on the side of insurance companies or we're not on the side of the American people for health care, and I believe that we're going to get there sometime on Sunday, and that's where we need to move toward now. The reality is that we always craft legislation in a way that we accommodate, the broader needs and concerns of the American people. I think that this process is no different from that, and I'm looking forward to an upvote on health care for the American people.
Congressman Barton, you were rather emotional earlier today in your statements before the folks there in Congress, expressing your frustration with the process at this point. What do you think, and what are your expectations over the next several hours as these amendments get considered?
Well, it's good to hear Congresswoman Edwards say, if I heard her correctly, that she supports a fair rule where we do get a vote on the rule, a vote on the Senate bill, and then a vote on reconciliation. We have to argue process right now, because until you get that fair, you can't have a debate on the merits of some of these issues. And I might point out that some of these things that the Congresswoman is talking about, the Democrats are apparently still negotiating, because Chairman Miller of the Education Committee indicated that the manager's amendment is still being put together. So apparently Speaker Pelosi doesn't have her deal locked down yet, and even as the Rules Committee is meeting, they are still making deals apparently on the manager's amendment, which we won't see until midnight or maybe even 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
going to be a long process, and of course we're going to be keeping close watch on it, and I know the stakes remain very high for both sides. Thank you so much for joining us with your insights, and we will check back with you later on.